Hello there, it's me, Egil Thorsson, and today I'm answering a question from a subscriber, it goes by the name of SuperGames0012. Hi, welcome to the channel, and it has a question. Why did the Anglo-Saxons use axes? Well, obviously there are various uses. This one is more like a domestic axe for chopping wood. Very useful, inexpensive and very effective. And you can imagine if they're called to fight or defend their home, this is quite a useful weapon. It goes from being a tool to a weapon. There are various styles of axes which I refer you back to other videos we've done on axes, but I'll recap. This is an example called a bearded axe. If you imagine the stick here, that is the body, here's his nose and here's his beard. Can be used for hooking. So why use an axe? Well, it's very effective. You could chop trees or chop people with it depending on your situation. It's inexpensive in that a sword would cost you, well, a fortune, and would be out the way of most people in income. But this doubles as a domestic tool and a weapon. Not only that, you can also, in this case, turn it around, use it as a club. It's whatever you can use. This is just as effective as any sword or spear. You've got to get in reasonably close, but it also means on a farm you can use it for chopping trees, maybe slaughtering hogs even with it or whatever, and it doubles as a home defense weapon. And this is the point, it's got many uses. Various types of axes. This is a very small version of a bearded axe, as I explained to you earlier. You get some which have got a much wider thing and are used in building ships. Axes, there's a skill in using axes which I think has been largely lost to us, in shipbuilding and fashioning beams for houses, because basically we no longer use them. With the advent of concrete and steel in mass production, we don't really need those skills, although it's nice to have them. So the axe is a very useful tool, even today if you're out in the wild. This is very useful. If you're caught out in the wild, you can use it to chop a tree down, make a shelter, use the bark for containers, use the branches to make a roof. In other words, you can survive with this, whereas if you just carry a knife, oh yes, you could slaughter game with it, but it's not much good for chopping a tree down. So very useful. And my able assistant here, Bragi, thank you Bragi, good grief, has brought me a better example of a bearded axe, and this one's sharp, but it emphasises what I said earlier. There's the head of the person, there's his nose, there's his beard, hence the name bearded axe. We have another version here. I have a profusion of axes. This is a reenactor's one again, same shape, and it's a generic thing. You can also use it, and this is, he's just handed it me perfectly. If I could borrow Bragi a minute. You can use it as a
you won't see my head.
As a hooking device. You can't see him, but I've just lopped his head off. You hook them around the neck, and also the Vikings mostly employed this with their long ships. You have a row of guys hooking over the side, pulling the boat together, then you can have a good old fight. This is rather sharp, this one. So
it's more Norman a bit later.
Well, yeah, as you've probably heard, that's more Norman, but it proves one thing: axes are used throughout history, be it Saxon, Viking, Norman, and even up to Tudor times. It's a generic weapon. It's very useful, something which most people could afford. The swords are very expensive. Spears, again, vary from the fancy ones with the wings on, used for hooking, to a burnt stick with a point on it, which can cause you a nasty wound. But axes, most farms would have an axe of some description. And if you like, you could call this the weapon of the people. We're rather complacent nowadays because we are relatively safe from war and invasion. And if it does come, it usually happens in another country, not our own. But you're dealing at a time when you have marauding bands. Could be Vikings, could be bandits. It could be your next door neighbour. We live in very stable times. Whereas, and also we have a standing army and a police force. They didn't have any of this. And this is the, like, if you like, the peacemaker. This will defend your home. This will save your children. This will save you. And, you know, while you're away, you may be at market, or you could even be at war. There's always an axe on a farm. And a woman defending her children with one of these. And it reminds me, actually, when I was with the reenactment group, Excellent Regia Anglorum, I was fighting at York. I had a 10-foot spear with wings, and I was being rather clever, using the shield wall as my shield. And there was a girl there with an axe, and it was beautiful. She used the shield wall as her shield, and she was leaning over, because you always get people a little keen, bop. And I followed it, and I just couldn't, that's a board rubber squeaking, and I just couldn't get to her, and she smiled at me every time, and she got about 5 people. And at the end I said, man, you were good. And we had a good laugh about it, but it shows if you use your head, even an axe. And I've tended to find, in actual fact, in our reenactment group Regia Anglorum, that a lot of women used axes, and that sort of emphasised it for me. It's because it's a light weapon and it's effective. You can control it and use other people as a shield. Why not? I'm sure they did that in past times. So, you know, it's a weapon, I think, that in reenactment circles gets overlooked because you all want to be mailed and sword and big 10-foot spears with God knows what. But, you know, this will take you out just as easily. Although some people are reluctant to take their wounds. But we won't go into that. Yes, the axe is a very effective weapon. So anyway, I hope that's answered your questions. I'm sure there's a lot more of you out there who are quite willing to ask questions, and that's what we encourage you to do. And please send in your comments as well. I mean, we're not the fount of all knowledge, and if we're wrong, I'll accept it and have a look. But if I'm right, I'll tell you I'm right. And we'll try and broaden this out, because this is useful. It makes a bit more of the channel, and it involves you, the public. And let's face it, you, the public, make this channel. Without you, we're nothing. Okay? So write in with your questions, and we'll answer them with pleasure. We'll try and be as accurate as we can. Sometimes we may slip up, in which case tell us, because if you know and we don't, you know, we're not here to promote ignorance. We're here for you, the people. And in these times we need communication, and that's a big thing. Well, yeah, I've rattled on long enough. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to subscribe, press the old bell or bar along the top. If you'd like to send in questions, well, send us a question. Hashtag
Viking weapons.
Viking weapons. Thank you, Bragi. And we'll be only too glad to look at there. It does take us a while, but please be patient, because there's only 2 of us, and only one of us has got the knowledge we need.
Maybe 3 soon.
Oh, maybe 3. Oh dear, that's something I don't know about. But anyway, either way, let us know what you want. Send us your questions in. We'll try our best to answer them. And in the meantime, be safe. And as I say, look after yourself, stay safe, and make the world a happier place. Okay? Bye.